Web Daily Bible, Day 83, 1 Samuel, Chapter 4. The word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle, and encamped beside Ebenezer, and the Philistines encamped in Aphek. The Philistines put themselves in array against Israel. When they joined battle, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 men of the army in the field. When the people had come into the camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why has the Lord defeated us today before the Philistines? Let's get the ark of the Lord's covenant out of Shiloh and bring it to us, that it may come among us and save us out of the hand of our enemies." So the people sent to Shiloh, and they brought from there the ark of the covenant of the Lord of armies, who sits above the cherubim. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that the earth resounded. When the Philistines heard the noise of the shout, they said, "What does the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews mean?" They understood that the Lord's ark had come into the camp. The Philistines were afraid, for they said, "God has come into the camp." They said, "Woe to us, for there has not been such a thing before. Woe to us! Who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods that struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. Be strong and behave like men, O you Philistines, that you not be servants to the Hebrews, as they have been to you. Strengthen yourselves like men, and fight." The Philistines fought, and Israel was defeated, and each man fled to his tent. There was a very great slaughter, for 30,000 footmen of Israel fell. God's ark was taken, and the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were slain. A man of Benjamin ran out of the army and came to Shiloh the same day, with his clothes torn and with dirt on his head. When he came, behold, Eli was sitting on his seat by the road watching, for his heart trembled for God's ark. When the man came into the city and told about it, all the city cried out. When Eli heard the noise of the crying, he said, "What does the noise of this tumult mean?" The man hurried and came and told Eli. Now Eli was 98 years old. His eyes were set so that he could not see. The man said to Eli, "I am he who came out of the army, and I fled today out of the army." He said, "How did the matter go, my son?" He who brought the news answered, "Israel has fled before the Philistines, and there has been also a great slaughter among the people. Your 2 sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and God's ark has been captured." When he made mention of God's ark, Eli fell from off his seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck broke, and he died, for he was an old man and heavy. He had judged Israel 40 years. His daughter-in-law, Phinehas's wife, was with child, near to giving birth. When she heard the news that God's ark was taken, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed herself and gave birth, for her pains came on her. About the time of her death, the women who stood by her said to her, "Don't be afraid, for you have given birth to a son." But she didn't answer, neither did she regard it. She named the child Ichabod, saying, "The glory has departed from Israel, because God's ark was taken, and because of her father-in-law and her husband." She said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for God's ark has been taken." Chapter 5. Now the Philistines had taken God's ark, and they brought it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. The Philistines took God's ark and brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon. When the people of Ashdod arose early on the next day, behold, Dagon had fallen on his face to the ground before the Lord's ark. They took Dagon and set him in his place again. When they arose early on the following morning, behold, Dagon had fallen on his face to the ground before the Lord's ark. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off on the threshold. Only Dagon's torso was intact. Therefore neither the priests of Dagon, nor any who come into Dagon's house, step on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod to this day. But the Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and struck them with tumours, even Ashdod and its borders. When the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, "The ark of the God of Israel shall not stay with us, for his hand is severe on us and on Dagon our God." They sent therefore and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines, and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" They answered, "Let the ark of the God of Israel be carried over to Gath." They carried the ark of the God of Israel there. It was so that after they had carried it there, the Lord's hand was against the city with a very great confusion, and he struck the men of the city, both small and great, so that tumours broke out on them. So they sent God's ark to Ekron. As God's ark came to Ekron, the Ekronites cried out, saying, "They have brought the ark of the God of Israel here to us, to kill us and our people." They sent therefore and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines, and they said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away, and let it go again to its own place, that it not kill us and our people." For there was a deadly panic throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there. The men who didn't die were struck with the tumours, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. Chapter 6. The Lord's ark was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. The Philistines called for the priests and the diviners, saying, "What shall we do with the Lord's ark? Show us how we should send it to its place." They said, "If you send away the ark of the God of Israel, don't send it empty, but by all means return a trespass offering to him. Then you will be healed, and it will be known to you why his hand is not removed from you." Then they said, "What should the trespass offering be, which we shall return to him?" They said, 5 golden tumours and 5 golden mice, for the number of the lords of the Philistines, for one plague was on you all and on your lords. Therefore you shall make images of your tumours and images of your mice that mar the land, and you shall give glory to the God of Israel. Perhaps he will release his hand from you, from your gods, and from your land. Why then do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts? When he had worked wonderfully among them, didn't they let the people go, and they departed? Now therefore take and prepare yourselves a new cart and 2 milk cows, on which there has come no yoke, and tie the cows to the cart, and bring their calves home from them, and take the Lord's ark and lay it on the cart. Put the jewels of gold, which you return him for a trespass offering, in a box by its side, and send it away, that it may go. Behold, if it goes up by the way of its own border to Beth-Shemesh, then he has done us this great evil, but if not, then we shall know that it is not his hand that struck us. It was a chance that happened to us." The men did so, and took 2 milk cows and tied them to the cart, and shut up their calves at home. They put the Lord's ark on the cart, and the box with the golden mice and the images of their tumours. The cows took the straight way by the way to Beth-Shemesh. They went along the highway, lowing as they went, and didn't turn away to the right hand or to the left. And the lords of the Philistines went after them to the border of Beth-Shemesh. The people of Beth-Shemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley, and they lifted up their eyes and saw the ark, and rejoiced to see it. The cart came into the field of Joshua of Beth-Shemesh, and stood there, where there was a great stone. Then they split the wood of the cart, and offered up the cows for a burnt offering to the Lord. The Levites took down the Lord's ark and the box that was with it, in which the jewels of gold were, and put them on the great stone. And the men of Beth-Shemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrificed sacrifices the same day to the Lord. When the 5 lords of the Philistines had seen it, they returned to Ekron the same day. These are the golden tumours which the Philistines returned for a trespass offering to the Lord, for Ashdod 1, for Gaza 1, for Ashkelon 1, for Gath 1, for Ekron 1. And the golden mice, according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines belonging to the 5 lords, both of fortified cities and of country villages, even to the great stone on which they set down the Lord's ark. That stone remains to this day in the field of Joshua of Beth-Shemesh. He struck of the men of Beth-Shemesh, because they had looked into the Lord's ark. he struck 50,070 of the men. Then the people mourned, because the Lord had struck the people with a great slaughter. The men of Beth-shemesh said, "Who is able to stand before the Lord, this holy God? To whom shall he go up from us?" They sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kiriath-jearim, saying, "The Philistines have brought back the Lord's ark. Come down and bring it up to yourselves."